Welcome back, everyone, to Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich left KMT. Now, we were preparing to attack the Shandong Kleko. There's an event. Yeah, let's get to the event, actually. The proclamation of a new revolutionary and socialist Chinese government has led to a growing sense of excitement and patriotism within the Chinese left wing. The conglomerate of socialist thinkers, intellectuals, and writers who are not part of the Chinese Kuomintang have formed the fragile coalition of the League of Chinese Syndicalists, the largest faction of which is the Chinese Syndicalist Party. Tensions have nonetheless begun to emerge between the LCS. Ideologically, not all socialists in the LCS adhere to the belief that China is already in a capitalistic society. Where were we? As a young generation of radical socialists called the Radical faction of the League of Chinese Syndicalists had declared that the Chinese society is already in a capitalistic mode of production, and that both peasants and workers are constrained in a system of capitalism, a system that must be destroyed by the revolution. Older conservative members of the LCS, such as Dong Biwu, who in real life was a CCP member, and Lin Bochu, the Orthodox faction, have instead voiced for cooperation with the Chinese Kuomintang, and many of them adhere to the belief that China is still a semi-feudal nation. Separate from the CSP's radical and Orthodox wings is the World Society, a generation of old and idealistic anarchists who believe in the prudentist ideals of crass reconciliation and universal harmony. Represented by party elders such as Li Shizong, Wu Zhihui, Zhang Zhenjie, and Tsai Yuanpei, they absolutely abhor and fear the class conflict stoked by radical members of the RCA or those within the League of Chinese Syndicalists. So basically, with these three factions, you have represented, three of the main strains of Chinese outright revolutionary thinking, from the beginning of the 20th century, you would say, all the way to, the post-1927 Shanghai uprising environment, meaning first the sort of old guard of utopians and anarchists, who look to Tolstoy, Proudhon, Bakunin, that kind of, late 19th century anarchist / utopian socialist thinking. Then the more advanced sort of Marxist adjacent or outright Marxist thinking of we need to first establish capitalism in China. That was the basis of the early CCP, obviously, much like it was of the Russian Social Democratic Party for a while, and the need for a united front with the nationalist forces, because, China still hadn't advanced to the capitalist stage yet, and so it needed to go forward. I'm sure you know all about that. And we have a third faction, which is more, sort of revolution now focused. You would say more closely aligned, I guess, to the, Maoists of the, the Maoists of the post-1927 environment. Because in 1927, in case you don't know, is when our timeline KMT from Canton, Guangzhou, went on its northern expedition and conquered basically the central area of China, defeated a lot of the warlord forces in an alliance with the CCP. And the CCP, which was mainly strong at the time in the industrial centers such as Wuhan, Shanghai, and the Beijing area, and a bit of the Shanxi areas, basically supported the KMT. And, at the time, Sun Yat-sen, the founder of the KMT and the guy who had basically, the man who had built up the alliance with the communists, both in terms of the Soviet Union and in terms of the CCP. Sun Yat-sen had already died, and the KMT at the time was under the control of Chiang Kai-shek, who had already, passed along some policies that were effectively already anti-communist, and, had the CCP leadership been a little bit, sharper, they probably would have picked up on the fact that the United Front was not workable anymore, but, you know, they still went ahead with their uprising in Shanghai anyway. They took over the city from the warlord forces of Jiang Zongcheng, and then they were promptly massacred by the nationalist armies that were supposed to be their, you know, allies. This basically meant that the United Front of the Chinese nationalists was not workable anymore, and where the Maoists, you know, really started to take hold, because in the interior of China, the forces that would become the Maoists basically fled to the countryside and the hills to start a guerrilla insurgency, where the aim was not anymore, you know, let's collaborate with nationalists and make capitalism in China, but, you know, let's jump ahead to socialist revolution anyway and see what happens then. And obviously that meant needing the support of the peasantry, although I'm not sure exactly how the League of Chinese Syndicalists radicals are, you know, positioned on the peasant question. But yeah, that's the gist of it. Obviously, our situation in Kaiserreich is much different from real life, because, you know, the KMT, due to this different situation, is, you know, headed by the left and not the rightists. And yeah, also Chiang Kai-shek is dead, so, you know, yeah, Chiang Kai-shek being dead certainly helps make history a little different than what it was, because, you know, Chiang Kai-shek is really one of those figures in history where you can definitely say that he changed history by his individual actions, but we're going to talk more about Chiang Kai-shek at some other point, I'm sure. Anyway, we have the question of ethnic autonomy. So ethnic relations within China have not always been peaceful. Oh, really now? But it was the great Dr. Sun Yat-sen who theorized that the notion of Minsu from the Three Principles of the People. So obviously the Three Principles of the People are Minsheng, Minsu, and Minzhi. So the Minsu is the sort of nationalism. Minsheng is the people's welfare, and Minzhi is the people's power, the, you know, democracy, I guess. The Harvest of 1936. Do we need 100,000 manpower right now? I should get 30 war support. No, but we need the army experience. Oh, I mean, we're not really going to lose any army experience. And we will lose 30% stability. Let's do what the Red Army did and send the recruits to the fields, I suppose. Anyway, so Minsu is the nationalism principles of the Three Principles of the People. Nationalism in a pretty strange way, obviously, because we're talking about China, and China is never simple. Integration, sure, perfect. The Three Principles of the People was necessary to prevent the nation from falling into disorder and chaos. Interestingly enough, his earlier opinions seem to encourage the notion of a dominant Han ethnicity, which in the end never really ended up being a problem for the KMT. The KMT was never really Han supremacist, but yeah, you could interpret some, you know, a lot of Chinese nationalist thinking as Han supremacy. And in fact, considering like the demographic makeup of China, it is, you know, pretty damn remarkable that, you know, until a few very recent developments in the PRC, you've never really gone into Han supremacy, which is, yeah, because like in any other country where the dominant ethnicity is like this much stronger than everywhere else, like, than any other group, you would have had like probably many more troubles than this. But anyways, yes, Sun considers the great races of China, aside from the Han majority, the Tibetans, the Mongols, the Manchu, and the Hui, as the mere relics of an ancient social structure. So basically that is the five races, as they called them, that were the basis of the five colors of the original Chinese Republican flag. So, you know, the Han Chinese, the proper Chinese, the Manchus, the Mongols, the Tibetans, and the Hui, who are like the Chinese Muslims in the sort of northwest of the country. Instead, the late premier's stance was that the Minzu of China were all subordinate to the ethnically dominant Hanzu, so the Han ethnicity. It was therefore the more cultured and sophisticated Hanzu's destiny to lead the Minzu into the evolutionary formation of a single Han Zhonghua Minzu. So a Zhonghua being basically in Chinese like the Chinese civilization, literally the central flower, central civilization. You could say Zhonghua Minzu meaning a more Chinese, meaning Chinese as like a civic identity rather than an ethnic one, and that's officially how the sort of Chinese are supposed to describe themselves even today. So yeah, the repatriated Congress, in particular Wang Jingwei's faction, is mostly in favor of following Sun's principles. Nonetheless, the Provisional Action Committee, so the faction led by Song Qinling, has voiced openly that they would be more than happy to promise a degree of self-autonomy to the minorities, provided that they support the KMT course, which is what ended up mostly happening with the PRC anyway. So the second repatriated Congress of the Kuomintang has formally adjourned. Although much has been decided upon, there were plenty on unresolved and subtle fractures that began to form between Wang's loyalists and his divided opposition. Let's increase legitimacy. In the meantime, as delegates and representatives prepare to head on home, they have decided to entrust the third and latest Central Executive Committee to manage party affairs. Headed by Chairman Wang and Vice Chairman Liao Zhongkai, who was an assassinated sort of right-hand man of Sun Yat-sen. Do we want to go with some trucks? I think we want to get ourselves some interwar artillery for now. Who I believe is our PM right now, our second in command, Liao Zhongkai. Yeah, he was assassinated in 1913 by the forces of the would-be new Chinese Emperor Yuan Shikai, who was at the time the sort of military dictator. Anyway, the two are joined by 22 others. Okay, lots of names. Important among them, let's see if we can just like spot them. Yeah, we have Chen Gongbo, who is the ideologue of the left KMT. We have Deng Yanda, who I quickly looked up was a KMT general who basically was among the Hanko faction, who in 1927 were kind of abhorred at the sort of betrayal of the communists, and there was. For a while, there was a split of two governments between the KMT. So the Northern Expedition had taken them from the south to the center of China. They had taken both Wuhan, which is a city that's made up of three cities, Wuchang, Hankou, and Hanyang. They had taken the city with one column, and another column had taken Nanjing and Shanghai. Chiang Kai-shek had formed a government in Nanjing. The sort of left KMT, another faction, formed another government that was trying to sort of uphold the United Front in Hankou. So at the time there was a split between, you could say, the left and the right, basically, of the KMT, with Chiang Kai-shek and, you know, the most powerful elements of the military, though, being on one side, and also them having the support of the defeated warlord forces, the northern warlords, who obviously had the sort of priority of putting down the communists and making a deal with Chiang, which turned out to be possible, and for them to keep their armies. So obviously the Hankou government was defeated pretty quickly, and eventually Deng Yanda tried to form his own party, and he was executed by Chiang. So yeah, you know, left KMT figure, today considered by the PRC as, you know, one of their heroes, for obvious reasons. We have Li Jishen, general. We have, let's see. We have Song Qinling. We have Sun Fo, who is the leader of the liberals. Let's see if we can find him. Yeah, there we go. Sun Fo, son of Sun Yat-sen, I think. Yeah, the only son of Sun Yat-sen. Yeah, leader of the KMT centrists. We have Zhang Bojun. There we go. Yeah. Given disciplinary powers and with say over financial affairs, is a central supervisory committee made up of Kuomintang stalwarts Tsai Yuen-pei, Li Shizheng, and Wu Zhihui, Xu Qian, and Zhang Zhenjie. Now, this is something that's very different from our timeline, because in our timeline, the Nanjing government of the KMT was obviously rightist. Their financial affairs very quickly sort of reconciled with the sort of international financial interests, the British and stuff. Especially the Americans. And one thing that quickly became apparent at this, that they basically... okay, there we go. Let's connect our country of railroads. Is that the financial side of things would be handled by people that were very closely tied with the sort of Western financial institution. And this, we're talking about... for instance, Dr. Wellington Koo, whose wife was one of the three Song sisters. The other two Song sisters being married to Sun Yat-sen and Chiang Kai-shek. So, yeah, that's definitely one pretty scary group of three women, even though Song Qinling definitely didn't want to have anything to do with the other two because, they were far more right-wing than Song Qinling was. And Song Qinling eventually became a I guess, member of the CCP. And was she ever a member of the CCP? Well, she was definitely part of the government of the PRC. So that's the Song sisters, and that's the financial arm of Chiang's KMT, which was all basically people educated by Western institutions and adhering to Western, Western financial theories, and at the time also. A little bit looking towards the sort of Italian liberals who had collaborated with Mussolini because, Chiang Kai-shek and his governance of China would eventually, look to emulate fascism in many ways. So that's definitely a very different situation in our government right now. So, yeah. All right, we have the balance of power that has been established as a mechanic. We are leaning towards the reorganized comrades because obviously Wang Jingwei is the man in charge at the moment. The China Revival Society now, as Kuomintang representatives assembled and politicked in Nanjing. Plenty left outside the negotiating table found time to gather on their own. Outside from the public spotlight, a different set of ideas and ideals swirled. Many disaffected Huangpu alumni, so military academy people. Are we close to deploying our troops? No, far from close. Stewing in exile far from home across the last decade had gathered together within the academy's tightly woven networks. The more ideological and radical of this bunch turned to He Zhonghan and Deng Wenyi, mid-level staff officers who promote a nationalistic, totalist, and anti-establishment line. Having returned, they have proudly begun calling their secret fraternity the Revolutionary Army Comrades Association. So yes, basically wielding the Raqqa, the League of Ten, and other radical officers together into one fighting movement, the China Revival Society is born. So that's the other more extremist elements as well within the military that are taking shape, who are looking towards, obviously, the Maximist. Oh, speaking of which, here's Mosley. Yeah, the Maximists in England. Yeah, I mean, definitely. This China Revival Society is a very interesting name. Those who know a bit of Chinese and especially Chinese politics as well have probably heard this fuxing, this revival term used a lot because all the way from Sun Yat-sen, Sun Yat-sen had a China Revival Society. I think that was one of the intermittent between one of the various revolutionary societies and, the first KMT, the first iteration of the Kuomintang. And even today, one of the official policy goals, sort of the CCP, is the they call it Chinese rejuvenation, or at least it's translated as Chinese rejuvenation, but it's this 中国复兴, 中华复兴, you know, the sort of revival of the Chinese civilization, the Chinese nation. Yeah, definitely a very important term to know when looking at Chinese politics. Let's get this attack on the Shandong clique going, because I'm getting I need dopamine. I'm getting bored. Anyway, the Kingdom of Finland has joined the Reichspakt. I wonder. Oh, Sun Liren. There we go. I wonder. I've never understood Siam in either in real life or in Kaiserreich. I have no idea what's going on here. Both of these look very similar to me. It's like, hey, do you want the royalist rightist, or do you want the non-royalist rightists? Okay, all right. Do you want the royalist right-wingers, or do you want the royalist left-wingers? Fucking Thailand. Unbelievable country. I have never understood it. Anyway. What can we do with our 150 political power? Oh, it's 142. Radicalism is increasing. Yeah, we're going to look at the radicalism soon enough. Ooh. Party popularity stability modifier, war support, max volunteer force divisions, justify war goal time, the reorganized comrades ascendant to -5%. This advisor will strengthen the PAC. Zhang Bojun also looks rather nice. I definitely want someone who's going to give me political power, but a lot of them are going to increase the RCA. Now, I want Tsai Yuen-pei because of the research period, but I don't want him because of the World Society. I don't want the World Society. Max factories in a state, construction speed. Let's get Zhang Bojun. And that's going to increase our monthly population gain. I'm guessing already, China, though, there's going to be quite a bit of population growth, right? You know, let's get ourselves some population and therefore some manpower. Yeah, because we really need those to get those divisions on the field. So 1946 organic law to supplement the Rajri defunct 1912 provisional constitution. It is modeled after Sun Yat-sen's writings, where he envisioned a government with 5 branches, with a weak president among them. So the executive, legislative, and judicial yuan, then the examination yuan, which is sort of the Chinese edition that's like supposed to represent the tradition of examinations and stuff like that. Oh, Hunan has gone cuck. Damn, incredible. Grand Republican League Social Liberal. Interesting. Wait, we have a truce? With the National Revolutionary Government? Really? Huh. It's only until 23rd of August, though. Let's go kill Chen Jioming quickly enough. Anyway, and the Control UN, which is basically, yeah, kind of a auditory body. Anyway, the seats. How shall we distribute the seats? Either carefully balanced across all factions, which is going to move things towards the PAC, but it's also going to give us social liberalism, which is not that great, based off of loyalty to the chairman, which is going to increase radicalism, but also move us towards the reorganized comrades and also give us political power. On the merits of each applicant, the CSP Orthodox faction will increase among the syndicalists. Well, the CSP Orthodox are already winning. Can we see our radicalism? It's at 15%. Let's increase radicalism a little. I love increasing our radicalism. Anyway, part of the reason why I'm trying to get this annex war goal on the Shandong clique is the fact that we have this demobilization mission or whatever you want to call it, which I'm very much not happy about. And I don't want our economy law to be demobilized, because that's going to be rather annoying to deal with. Oh, Yunnan click falls into civil war. Who would have thought? Yeah, you gotta love Yunnan civil wars. Oh, yeah, I mean, it is that civil war. It's like, Yunnan is that small that you cannot represent the civil war on the map even, really. Oh, Long Yun, the king of Yunnan. The judicial Yuan. Provisional Action Committee. Social Liberalism. Or RCA. Let's do some PAC. Yeah, currently we have a very healthy 18% tilt over there. And there we go. We have the Wargle ready. Once we're very close, we're gonna deploy our units and we're gonna just attack. Because we're gonna have a massive numerical advantage for sure. We do not know how much they've got, but it's... Huh. Yeah, well, I mean, once we actually deploy our units, it's gonna be a massive numerical advantage. Right now, it's pretty even. Tender to the masses. I don't like the increasing in social democratic, but this is a research slot, and we want research slots for sure. Currently have 38%, which is rather nice. So the legitimacy of the party thing, we definitely need to increase that as much as possible because, yeah, as you can see, it gives us a lot of... Oh, man. Huh. Social Democrats in Mongolia. Definitely gives us a lot of terrible modifiers, so we want to increase our legitimacy massively whenever possible. We also really need to fix this Military Affairs Commission thing because it's decreasing... it's making us decrease our army experience daily, which is rather terrible, to be honest. It's one of the worst things that can happen for China, at the very least, because we really do need these army reform decisions to be clicked if we want to stand up with non-Chinese armies, really, because you get the warlord era inadequacies and, yeah, the NRA as well. Those need to be basically fixed. The Legislative Yuan, either the PAC will increase, but also the World Society will increase, or the RCA is going to increase. We can afford a little bit of World Society. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe I'm gonna want to do the radicalism anyway. Oh yeah, the Hawaiian fifth column. So that's the liberals, the centrists. Yeah, I think we want to curb them as much as possible. They are currently at 10%, which is a bit much even for my liking. So yeah, we won't want to. We don't want those liberals to get too uppity because you know, they're libs, and yeah, libs are not very fun. I'm sure they think they're fun. Anyway, let's deploy our divisions, who unfortunately have the green modifier, but you know, it can't be helped. We need to declare war before the thing is over. Really? Are we gonna have supply issues? But there's a railway. Oh, no supply connection from capital. Really? Really? No supply connection from capital. How? There's no way I can get motorization because I don't have trucks, right? Yep. How is there no supply connection from capital? I'm sorry. There's a railroad that goes up here. What do you mean there's no supply hub? Do I need to do the thing where I delete my other supply hubs? Oh, the capital hub is in Hangzhou. Can I delete the supply hub? For fuck's sake. Oh, that's a bit of an issue. I did not expect this turn of events. I really did not expect this turn of events. Let's see if by moving out our other forces, the supply is going to be okay. Yeah, it's going to be, like, alright, I guess, but... Still, the supply weight of these divisions is pretty high. Can I not... supply situation is 53%. Really? Really? Huh. Yeah, how the fuck am I supposed to, How the fuck am I supposed to get rid of the supply hub? Can you not delete them? I thought it was possible to delete them. No supply connection from the capital. Yeah, obviously there's no railroad that connects these. We definitely need to just make these railroads as soon as possible, I guess. Actually, no, not this one. Need to make this railroad. When is it gonna be finished? Oh boy, it's gonna take a while to finish. Anyways, I'm out of time for right now. I want to thank y'all for watching. Next time, hopefully we're gonna be able to invade the Shandong clique even though we don't have supplies. Bloody hell. And yeah, thank y'all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.